Hi everybody, I am Lady Stars on Fire. My real name is Michelle Espinosa, and this is the weekly healing messages for April 3rd through the 9th. I'm coming out a little bit late this week. I was just a little exhausted and had a lot to keep up with. So I'm bringing the video out just a wee little bit late this week. Now, I don't have a rune cast. If you've never watched the video before, I typically give you the astrology for the week, or what Spirit is guiding me to in the astrology. And then I give you whatever it is Spirit is guiding me to, just in general. And I typically give you a rune cast, but I'm not feeling it at the moment. I feel more like I'm going to be going towards tarot or something, and I'll come back and post that out a little bit later. So there is no rune cast at this moment. But I do want to go over some information that Spirit gave me before I get into the astrology for the week. Right now, I'm also being told there's a lot of frustration that people are going to be feeling this week. With some of what I'm seeing in the astrology, that makes sense. I'm being told that there's a lot of frustration that's going to be coming out. And basically, the guides are there to help guide you and help you through it in the most positive way. That's why I call it the positive and healing messages. But they are warning you there are frustrations coming out, and you want to watch where you let that turn into anger, because manifestation is growing and you don't want to grow against you, more or less. I am being given the number 11 for this week, and I'm being given the number 4. They do not go together. They are the number 11 from Spirit is what's being given to me, as well as the number 4. Now, for me, 11 speaks of manifestation in general. But it also speaks of encouragement, inspiration, awakening, and raising of vibrations. And you are being asked this week, to rise above and raise your vibrations. Apparently I need a vacation, because raising your vacation is what's trying to come out of my mouth. So, maybe with that being said, sometimes Spirit has a way of doing stuff. Maybe that also means, take a little bit of time for yourself. Sometimes you have to say no to things and give yourself love. And if vacation is what's trying to come out of my mouth, maybe it's about giving yourself a little bit of pampering time, during this week, and not be so overly connected to the outer world. Sometimes you need to take some time for yourself. But I am also, like I said, 11 is the number I'm being given for the week, and I am being given number 4. Now, for me, number 4 speaks to us of universal law and understanding energy. Okay, for me, number 4 is universal law, and it kind of has to do with the universe will have its way. What I mean is there's four signs. Not 4 signs. There's 4 there's 4 there's 4 directions. There's 4 elements. There's 4 seasons. There are things in the number 4 that cannot be changed. It is what it is. Like I said, the directions, the elements, your seasons of the year. Certain things are universal energy, and it just happens that way. And no matter how much you work on your manifestation and you do your own creating, you can't cock block the universal energy. It's a bigger energy. It's bigger and more powerful energy, and it will have its way. However, the number 4 also speaks to us, though, of understanding sometimes you just have to be. Just be. And that's kind of the energy I'm getting this week with this frustration, is sometimes you gotta just let things go, because Spirit is pretty much, I feel like I'm being held in one place for a moment. Like, no, you're not allowed to go forward. You're not allowed to go backwards. And I don't mean like moving forward in your life, or trying to set new goals, or, making steps. I feel like this is a moment of still. Please stay still for a moment. And I feel like that's what I'm getting this week. Like, just wait. The patience and you are not getting along is what I am getting for a lot of this energy this week. 4 speaks to us of creation. However, in order to have creation, we have to work through whatever it is we're creating and figure out how to do that. And that might be part of the still thing that I'm getting. It also speaks to us of security and safety for us. So I'm getting encouragement, inspiration, awakening, raising your vibrations, manifestation, the stillness, and the creation with the universal law. With the energies that are coming in. So, I mean, I know it sounds like it's a little bit all over the place, but it's really not. It's everything is about to come to starting to take a turn, to a bloom. Give it a moment. You might be pushing too hard. And sometimes it doesn't matter. It's going to take it has to take its time to get there. So is basically what I'm getting. It's okay. I am getting also this week, you may want to look up what guidance turtles bring to you. Because I'm being given turtles as a spirit guide. And as far as those people who follow the animals and the spirit guides too, and it makes sense for what's going on, is Spirit is giving me all kinds of animals. They're giving me mainly birds, but all kinds of animals that have really long necks. Like a giraffe, or a crane, a flamingo. It's the long neck. And I understand when I see the long neck from Spirit, this has to do with, like what I was just saying, that stillness, that stop and have some patience. Because the long neck with the giraffe and stuff, the way that Spirit gives it to me, typically is look above and see past what normally you can see. You have the long neck, so look above it and see further out. See the whole picture of what you're not seeing. There's something else there. And we've been working through this whole Pisces season, I've been saying the whole time, Pisces season has had some illusion within it. So it makes sense right now that I'm getting like that long neck. But just wait. Truly look at the picture, because there's something you're not seeing, is what I'm being given. And I've been saying with that whole Pisces season, and as Mercury came into its retrograde and came out of its retrograde, and now it's in its shadow, that, we're still overviewing some of that information that came in during Mercury retrograde, but we are still viewing it from a shadow point of view for like another week or so. And there's something there that's not quite what you think it is. And I've been saying the whole time, by the 10th, when Jupiter actually goes retrograde in Sagittarius, and by the full moon of this month, you should feel like you've come full circle, and you're going to see where that illusion was an illusion. You're going to see where what you thought was this, and it might have been that way, you were just entirely wrong. It was something completely else. And sometimes it's not good to get into your head in bad ways, because you're allowing yourself to talk yourself into stuff. But like I said, wait. I feel like I'm being held in place. Just, you need to wait. Have some patience. And like I said, I do feel frustration and some anger coming in. And you want to raise your vibrations above that right now. Look above the situation. Be the higher being. It's that long neck that's coming in. Now, I've been saying for the last 2 years that this year was going to be strengthening, and it was going to be strengthening friendships, new friendships that are meant to be in your life. But I've also been saying it's going to be kicking out relationships that, are no longer good for you. So you're going to be seeing that, because not this month, but this whole year, relationships are definitely taking a twist and turn. And that has to do with 2020. I'm already getting information for next year. And as long as you're doing your work now, things are going good. I'm just going to say this much. Everybody is talking about 2020 and saying so many things about it being such a great year, and it can be, as long as you've been soulfully working on yourself and making those corrections to get you to 2020, because it's number 4, it's a universal law year, and as long as you're working on things getting in the right direction, by that time, it's going to be easier for it to fall into direction. If not, there will be a whirlwind of trouble coming, because they'll have to be put in place by the universe. I'm just being honest. So it's in your best interest to be doing your soulful work now. All right. And I had to bring that out because as I'm going through the guidance that I'm being given, I just said you'll feel a lot of this come full circle by the time we have that full moon in Libra. We're getting ready to hit the new moon, I think, this week. But by the time you hit the full moon in Libra, you know that what was an illusion, it wasn't quite allowing you to see it. It hadn't illuminated itself to you. Should have definitely shown itself by that full moon, if not by the 10th. But I am being told, yes, you'll be coming a full circle of what you've been working with. They'll put you in the right direction. However, we always as humans have problems with patience. Okay? And I am being reminded over and over again that a lot of what you are redirecting, you may be redirecting and setting new goals and putting in a new direction, and you may find yourself starting to step forward, but you won't fully feel the full swing of that. What I'm getting is most likely a lot of you, that full swing won't come into feeling it until I think it's like midsummer to the end of summer is what Spirit's telling me. Like I said, everything has to do with timing, and sometimes I want what I want and I want it right now doesn't fit into the proper timing. So we're working slowly at getting in the right directions is what I'm being reminded. Now, this week on the 5th, we do have a full moon in Aries. We have a full moon in Aries. I'm also being told some people are having problems with their crown chakra, and that might also have to do like with why you need to stay still. Take some meditation time, because it's blocked. Yeah, it's blocked and it feels clouded, and so you're not getting the messages that you need is what I'm being given. And some of it also has to do with working with forgiveness in the heart chakra, because I'm being put in pain right there right now. And that's all I'm getting at this moment for as we're moving forward. It's like I said, when Spirit gives it to me, I give it to you. Now, we are moving into April 3rd through the 9th. And on the 5th, you have a new moon in Aries. That is on Friday. Now, new moons are all about new beginnings, new goals, new directions, new. Like I said, this is a time to start setting the directions, but you may not see it actually come into fruition, depending on what it is you're setting, is from what they're telling me, depending on what those goals are. You may not see those goals come into fruition until mid-summer, end of summer. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't set them. That doesn't mean you shouldn't start getting in that direction. And as you're setting them, when we come to that full moon this month, which is going to be taking place in Libra, I am being told, that full circle should be coming out. You'll also be seeing things that you need, obviously, to release, surrender, and let go of as you're moving forward, because they're no longer working for you or haven't been working for you, and now you acknowledge it, period. So we're moving into setting those new directions. Hold on. You're going to have to correct that. I don't know. Still don't know. It's coming in and it's taking over my head. I just don't know which side. Okay, what I'm getting is guidance of... Hold on. I have another book here, and I knew to pull it out as soon as we started, because it's like some of my own helpful hints. I always tell everybody, when you're learning to do your stuff, you got to find out what your connections are, and what that means is you're talking to Spirit. Well, I get so many that I can't keep up with them all, so I have messages that remind me of certain things as soon as I find where I have it written down. And it's still not giving me what I'm looking for. There we go. It has to do with communication with your spiritual path. Is you're gonna get information and guidance given to you this week about what that information is, and answers that are given to you about your soul purpose. You did remind me of that. That's this week. You'll be giving, you're starting to find things about your soul purpose, about the direction of what you should be going, and that works with the new moon. You should follow your intuition, is what I'm getting on this, and know that this is something that you do need to take action on, and that they do support you and your dreams and your goals. However, remember, timing is everything. So you're setting it. Don't expect it like that, is what I'm being given. But you are being given guidance in some form of a way. You will be seeing over your spiritual path, and the proper direction for this week. And that will help you go that way. Now, I'm also being reminded, it has a lot to do with your creativity. It has a lot to do with your creativity and understanding, yes, the material world does have a lot to do with the life that we live, but your creativity is what's going to bring into fruition what actually is going to happen into the material world. You have to work with that creativity. If you're feeling blocked, I get it now. If you're feeling blocked because your crown chakra isn't able to get that message, then you're not going to be able to bring that creativity forward. So you need to take this time and not allow that outside world to just over influence you and keep you from being able to receive that guidance that you're getting this week, basically, is what I'm being told. Now, I'm also getting I'm sorry, like I said, I'm double checking some of my notes because they're coming in really fast on me. Sometimes we overthink things too, and we get inflexible. Being inflexible right now is not going to help you. We're becoming over inflexible and becoming worried about what to do on the material path. When we allow that worry, that doubt, that frustration, that fear, because that's really what it comes down to overcome you, then it's actually pushing you back. This is what they're saying, and that's why I had to have my book. It's, go take a nice hot bath. Give yourself a moment, half hour, ritual bath, relax, help yourself because those frustrations are going to come in and make you question yourself. And that's what they're trying to tell me is don't allow your blockages, get unblocked. Give yourself what you need to get unblocked, to balance yourself back out, and then allow that energy to come in, and don't allow that frustration to actually pull you into where you're doubting yourself and don't think that it's possible, because it is very much possible. But that has to do with your belief and where you can bring that manifestation. And if you're fighting that, then you're going to go against yourself. Basically, that's what all of that was going on with me with Spirit just then. Now back to the astrology. New moon. And that's what all of that was coming down to, helping you make it through the new moon and set those directions. Takes place in Aries on the 5th. Now, that's Friday. Don't forget, Aries is a beginning point. It's the perfect spot for starting something. But Aries also is like, ooh, I want to get into this, and ooh, I want to get into this, and now I'm bored with that, and I'm going to go and get into this, and ooh, and now I'm bored with that, and I'm going to get into this. Aries is very impulsive, but it also gets bored really fast. So it gets over something really fast, and this is part of what that energy is you've got to set those goals and actually work towards it, because it's not going to happen like that. That's an Aries energy. You have to work towards it and keep yourself focused. And make sure that your me first energy isn't taking you in a negative place, because then you'll be backtracking on your manifestation that's coming from that new moon, more or less, is what I'm being given. Now, you also have on the 10th, is when Jupiter is going retrograde in Sagittarius. Now, I've been saying that for a little bit. With Jupiter getting ready to go retrograde in Sagittarius, remember, I always say in Sagittarius, it's kind of like the philosopher meets the spiritual energy. So Jupiter is actually speaking to you of your higher self. And it's been speaking outwardly ever since it got in, but now it's going into retrograde. And we've been in shadow for the last, 2 weeks of Jupiter before it went retrograde. And we're still in shadow of Jupiter being in retrograde right now. So this is kind of like the higher self is going, this isn't working. And why don't you see it? Because when it goes retrograde, it's going to clear up a lot of that stuff that isn't working. Because your higher self knows what you do not. Your higher self has the patience that you do not. And this week, that makes sense too, okay? Because this week, with it still being in shadow prior to the retrograde, it's knocking on doors that your higher self is going, well, why can't you get this right? Or what are you getting wrong? Your higher self knows better, but ego is stepping in the way and confusing things. Because it's seeing shadow. It's not seeing the full truth. It's seeing things from a darker aspect. Now, that can be positive because it helps you get motivated to put it in the right direction as long as you don't sit in your shit about it, okay? And then when Jupiter does go retrograde for all of that time that it's going to be in retrograde, it is higher knowledge. It is abundance. It is the freaking magnet. So the higher self is going to be coming to you at a more higher frequency than you've probably really known it ever. Especially with the energies that are going on. A lot of these energies that have been coming through have been like 1800 energies. I mean, like working through like I said, it's been working through like, just where we would say the Middle Ages, where the Middle Ages was going through a dark period. And that's what a lot of this really is that Spirit gives me. This is like we're learning how to come out of the Middle Ages and rise again. And that's what a lot of the next couple years are about. So we're getting in the right direction. So we're working with the universal energies and we're moving in the right direction. We're coming out of those darker times, those darker energies, and we're rising back into a golden age. But we can't get there till we clean out all the darker shit. Okay, and with Jupiter going into retrograde, after you make it through the shadow, Jupiter's going to be giving you so much information this month that's going to help you not just this month, for the next couple months, help you see the higher self, help you see the true authentic self that is within, and how to truly connect with it and bring that out of you in ways that you didn't know existed, that you didn't think was possible. But first, he's got to show you where you're getting it wrong and where you're not quite believing yourself or seeing it or thinking that's possible. And that's what some of these shadow energies are going to be this week until it goes retrograde on the 10th. So I'm warning you of that. Now, with that being said, I want to remind you, you also have shadow right now. It's a shadow period for Pluto and for Saturn. And Saturn and Pluto are sitting right on top of each other in a conjunction, and they're going to be that way for quite a while. But they're also entering, like I said, a shadow period, because at the end of the month, you have Pluto that's going to go retrograde, and then a week later, Saturn will go retrograde, meaning both of these are also turning inwardly. Well, at least Saturn is. Because Jupiter can't turn inward. Pluto can't turn inward. It already is inward. So when Pluto, which is death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration, which means I said this has to change soulfully and spiritually, and Capricorn, which is talking to you about how can you set new, proper, healthy foundations and, build a lifetime upon it. A soulful lifetime that works for you, not against you. And that's the energies that's coming out of Jupiter. And Jupiter, when Pluto goes retrograde, Pluto goes from, being in your face and really, I said this stuff has to change and you know it, to like pushing you up against the wall. Jupiter is, I'm not taking this shit anymore when Pluto is in retrograde. But it's sitting on top of Saturn. They're in a conjunction, which is your rules, your walls, your boundaries. Your rules, walls, and boundaries. Honey, for so many of us right now, your rules, walls, and boundaries, the foundation of what you thought your life was and how it was set, is crumbling, and it's meant to crumble. I'm sorry. I know it hurts, and I know it's uncomfortable, but a lot of this is meant to crumble because it's time to look to the new direction. Like I said, it's kind of like working through the Middle Ages and coming back into a golden age. Well, you can't get to that golden age if you're not willing to change. And these are the darker energies that are kind of attacking you this week because they're in shadow prior to their retrograde. Jupiter is still also in retrograde, magnifying the other two that, thank you, sorry, I'm talking to Spirit. So Jupiter is magnifying Pluto and Saturn's shadows retrograde because it's getting to you that higher self and helping you to understand the things that are dark, that are not good for you, that has to be changed so that we can start to move in that right direction. And then as we get in that right direction, things are going to start falling in place better, as long as you're working on yourself and you're acknowledging the truths within them. Now, with that being said, you also have Vista, which is moving into Aries this week. A lot of people don't talk about Vista. Vista is the soul fire. It is the home and the hearth of who and what you are. Okay? And it is moving into Aries. Now, Aries is the beginning sign. Like I said, that's where the new moon is going to be taking place. And it still has not Uranus. I have to look at my nose. But in that area, it has Chiron in it. So you have Chiron, Vista, and the moon all going to be there at the same time during that new moon. So that's going to be talking to you about the wounded healer, looking at the soul fire of what it is you need. Okay? And then speaking with those over emotional energies from the wounded healer and what you can't seem to get the gatekeeper to give you the keys to wholeness of. Okay? And work with this energy. But if this is an energy where you have to take time for yourself, you have to love yourself, but you also can't give up. You want to rest, you want to get the downloads, you want to get the information that you need, but you also have to get up and be able to stay in focus at the same time. And remember, the outer community is important, but if your inner community of yourself and your soul is out of whack, don't expect that outer community to be any better in whack, okay? Now, that makes so much sense. Because this week, when I do the rest of the astrology, you're going to understand. I was given what nobody else is going to talk about. Because every once in a while, you guys hear me talk about the Polaris Star, which is the gatekeeper, the guardians of the pole. And the Kokub, which is the dragon's tail in the constellations, and other planets that nobody seems to talk about. And every once in a while, I'm pulled all the way out into the Kuiper Belt and all those different things. And they're like, forget that. Listen to me and do this, is what Spirit gives me. And that's pretty much what this week is. I'm giving you some of the information that Spirit's giving me about that. Because the Guardians of the Pole is the Polaris Star. There's another star. I get confused on how to pronounce it. And Kokub. But the ones that are important this week is the Polaris Star and the Kokub. And like I said, this has to do with the dragon's tail and the constellation. And it actually is a portal. Oh, yeah. It actually is a portal, so it has to do with this energy that's going through. And this is why these energies are so right now. The Polaris Star is at Gemini at 23 degrees. Now, it is going to be conjuncting the moon as the moon moves through. But it's also going to be conjuncting Vista, because Vista is moving in, and Chiron in a form. So this energy that the Polaris Star and the Polaris Star and Kokub, they both bring an energy that's as powerful as the sun. It's like the sun times 2. And then it adds rules, walls, and boundaries of Saturn into it, and it also adds sensitivity to it. So you're taking sensitivity, Saturn's boundaries, rules, walls, and boundaries, and being uncomfortable with what those rules, walls, and boundaries are, or resetting them and illuminating it times two. That energy is talking to your soul fire and to Chiron, which is your wounded healer. So it's going to be touching base on these things that even though you've come out of that Pisces season, they're going, okay, you made it through Pisces season. You made it through all your skeletons in the closet, so what you gonna do about it? That's more or less what this energy is. What you gonna do about it? I'm in your face. I'm not gonna let you just get away with it. You don't get to go through all of that shit just to put it back into the closet and forget about it. No, no, no. That's what the Polaris Star and Kokub are gonna be hitting you with this week. That's where that frustration's coming in. But Spirit is saying, acknowledge it. Listen to your intuition. Listen to your higher self. And know what it's saying. And understand. But don't think you're going to fix it like that. Don't think you're going to fix it overnight. This is going to take time. And it will be dealing with relationships. Okay? And remember, I always tell you, relationships are anything you care about, you have a relationship with. You care about your friends, your family, your loved ones, your children, but you also care about your job because you need your job in order to have money. And if you have no money, you know about your relationship with no money. And if you have no car, you know about your relationship with no car. So anything you care about, you have a relationship with. So this is strengthening the relationships by realizing what relationships you need and what relationships you don't, and where those rules and walls and boundaries need to change, and why, because of the sensitivities within them. Okay, this is also speaking to us in that universal third house of Gemini. Gemini is also going to be speaking to us of, I say Gemini is Jekyll and Hyde. You see everything for exactly what it is, but you don't know which side is going to be chosen, Jekyll or Hyde. You're getting a good smack of true reality shown. Okay, it is also going to be trining Lilith. Lilith in Aquarius. So this energy is getting along with Lilith. Lilith is the feminist activist. Okay, nobody's going to make me do a goddamn thing I don't want to do. I am quite comfortable with who I am, and I know exactly who I am. You know you love this. That is Aquarius. I mean, not Aquarius. Well, it is Aquarius in a form, but it is Lilith. Lilith is, nobody's going to make me do anything. She's got the ego full on. And that can be good if you're using it in a positive way and helping you to build strength within yourself. Just not taking it into a narcissistic way. Because in Aquarius, it's very much, I can push that Lilith energy right on out of me and I feel very good and you know exactly who I am, basically. So it's getting along with that rules, walls, and boundaries being magnified by the sensitivity and bringing the illumination from Gemini's Jekyll and Hyde to this whole energy right now of the soul fire of what it is you need. And it speaks to us of, what's close to us. And when I say what's close to us, I mean like your family, your siblings. It speaks to you of, what is close to you in communication, what is close to you in like where you live in the home life. All of this is energy that's being brought really close to home. All right. Now you also have, it is trining Pallas and Haumea, which is also speaking to you. One second. Is it here? Do I have it here? Did I lose it? Did I lose it? Apparently I did. But I believe Haumea is, again I'm confused, but I believe Haumea is speaking to you of the lotus flower, where you are on the lotus flower. Is the lotus flower is the flower of illumination, so it speaking to you of, have you risen above? Have you made it through the dirty, murky water? Are you still in shit? Have you made it to where you're starting to rise out of this shit? Or are you breaking through it? Or have you already started to grow and bloom? This is the question that it's asking you this week. That Polaris star is asking you where you are on that level, as well as it's talking to Athena, the warrior goddess. It's asking you, well, what is your strategic thinking here? Like I said, hold on is what Spirit says. Hold on, take this in, let your crown chakras open up, your heart open up for the forgiveness and forgive for yourself, not for them. And then redirect. Because that's what this is about. This is about a reblooming time to redirect. But you've got to get the home in, or you're going to redirect wrong, is what Spirit's saying. You don't want to let the frustrations and the irritations take you in the wrong direction. Now, I will tell you, though, it is having problems with Jupiter, that Polaris star, in Gemini. Jekyll and Hyde. So your ego is going to be attacking what your higher self tells you. Now your higher self knows. Remember, it has to do with patience. If ego needs it right now, you know it's ego that's talking, not the solar higher self. Because Jupiter is going to be the higher self that's trying to make sense of this to you. Now you also have Kokub, which is going to be trining Jupiter. So in one sense, you have both aspects speaking to Jupiter. You have your ego coming through into Jupiter, and then you have your higher self also speaking to Jupiter. Like I said, this is a meditation week. This is a time to, break away from the people, not separate. Break away for yourself just a little bit, because Uranus is also trining this energy. So your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, for your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem is wanting to roar. The lion inside is wanting to roar. Kokub is in Leo. It is your inner roar, speaking to that independence, your inner, that energy that exudes out of you, that you don't even acknowledge exudes out of you. That is speaking to that independence and self-worth and self-value of what you need. Just make sure that make sure you understand ego is having a conversation with the higher self and that roar with Jupiter. And only Jupiter can help you understand how to work through that karmic energy, how to work through that too close to home energy, okay, and how you can work through it. But you have to understand patience. I've been saying for weeks, with the energies that are going on, a blink is just a moment to energy. To us, it's freaking years. So patience. Hold on. We're about to start moving in another direction. But if you're holding your breath and having a pout attack, you might turn blue. So breathe and work through it, is what I'm being given. Because also, most people aren't going to be telling you, Eris is sitting in conjunction with Uranus. That's where the ego is coming from. Eris is something that most people don't talk about. Like I said, Spirit put me in a whole different direction this week. Eris is trouble and toil. It is strife. So the inner independence, inner self, inner independence, individuality, uniqueness, and freedom is fighting for where it never got the attention, never got to be noticed, never got to let itself out. And where, when you did do it, it still was ignored. Where you feel trouble and toil and strife. So it's nudging that independence, individuality, uniqueness, and freedom that is sitting in your self-worth, your self-value, and self-esteem. And it's pointing at you this week to want to jump into ego and allow Mercury's retrograde, which has gone direct now, Mercury's shadow, to bring the word vomit out of your mouth. This is very much a manifestation week, and if you are manifesting from quick thinking when you're emotional, you're going to manifest against yourself, is basically what all of this is coming down to. So know how to work with the energies so that you manifest properly and move yourself forward. The moon is going to be moving. Right now the moon is in Pisces for today and tomorrow, which means we're still a little bit too emotional about it because we're still going through Pisces season, and Mercury still is in shadow. So is Neptune in there, and so is Venus. So the oversensitivity is still in that universal 12th house. But we're about to jump into that first house, like I said, where it's going to feel quite the same, but more aggressive. and more powerful, and fire energy. The word vomit's going to be easy to come out this week, and you want to watch it, because the moon and its emotions and its sensitivity is going to be in Aries on the 4th, 5th, and 6th. The 6th, it will go through a void of course, and then into Taurus. So the 4th, 5th, and 6th, it's a lot of me first energy. It's a lot of right now, I want what I want, and I want it right now, and a lot of fire energy. A little bit too aggressive, possibly. And then on the 6th through the 8th, we move into Taurus, where now we want to relax, and I just want the best things. I want the beauty, and I want everything to be, I don't want to change, and we let the bullheadedness kind of come in. And then we move into Gemini on the 8th and 9th. So that's your emotions as they go through the week. But you do have a main challenge that is coming in.